Okay, guys, chapter 35 of Amal Unbound. Gulam would be here to pick me up any minute. As I packed boxes of my favorite biscuits into my suitcase for Fatima and the others, there was a knock on the door. Seema went to open it, but instead of Gulam, it was Fozia. I brought these for you, Fozia said. She stepped inside with a box of yellow lattice. She set it on the table. Thank you, I've missed your sweets, I said. Seema, my mother said, can you get a plate for them? No, they're all for Amal. I know how much she loves them, Fozia said. I came to say goodbye, and I had a question. She hesitated. I heard you work for Nazarene. Do you think if you talk to her about something, she might listen? Why? I asked her. What happened? Fozia shook her head and squeezed her eyes shut. Tears slipped down her cheeks. Tell me, please. I grabbed her hands. What's wrong? It's ever since we replaced that roof, and then we needed a little more to fix our freezer, and then there was the wedding. We're paying as much as we can each month. But when his officer came to collect last time, he said if we don't increase our payment soon, we'll take drastic measures. But we can't pay any more than we already can. We can't. Fozia, my mother said. Amal is a servant in their home. What power do you think she has? Look how indebted we are. There was the sound of a car pulling up, and the back door creaked open. Seema rushed in the living room as my father stepped inside. Gulam's outside, but he said you could take your time. Fozia stood. I don't know what I was thinking. She looked at my mother and me. Except, if there was a chance, I had to ask. I know. My mother hugged her. I blinked back tears after Fozia left. I wish I could help her. Amal, even if you could help them, imagine who else will come to you for the same, my mother said. She put her arm around me. It was then that I noticed her arms were bare. Where are your gold bangles? I asked. My mother glanced at my father. She sold them, he said. But those bangles were as much a part of my mother as her wavy hair. I could remember a moment she didn't have them on. It's the first thing we did when you left, Seema said. We were sure we could work something out, but even with her wedding jewelry, the tractor, the television, even if we sold them all, it wouldn't be enough. Not even close. I looked at my mother and at my sister. Seema's arms were crossed, her face ashen. They had tried everything they could think of to get me back and failed. So if they were continuing with their lives, it was because they had no other choice, just like me. I'm not leaving that place. Am I? I whispered to my dad. I waited for him to answer my question. Instead, he hugged me tight. I hugged the rest of my family goodbye, my mother, my sisters, and I kissed the baby. She smiled at me and cooed, but I knew I would soon be a stranger to her again. I thought coming home would help me feel better, but now all I could see was my mother's bare wrists, Fuzzy's frightened face, and a baby sister who would never know me. How many lives had this man upended? Why did no one stop him?